Welcome to another session of Learn with Veer Sagar. Today we will talk about how to take a quantum jump in volume. When we talk about volume growth, and I ask my managers, okay, what about next year? Should we grow? Yes, sir, we must grow. Okay, let's take a revised figure and ask what would your target be next year? And they would give me a target which is very aggressive. Sir, this is a very aggressive target. How much is this? It's 15% more than last year. Somebody else will give 20% more, knowing that he doesn't have to actually achieve it, but it's nice to give good numbers. So you get numbers. But even if you add up all that and take the maximum, you're still talking about a 20% growth. When you take a target of 20% growth, the chances of actually achieving 20% growth are very dim. Because when you take a 20% growth target, you will only aim for that. That means you will try and do whatever you're doing, but try and do slightly better. But if you really want to grow, you want to have a quantum jump increase, then doing this step-by-step increase, right, is not going to help. Because if you keep doing the same thing and say, I will do and do it better because that's what you feel comfortable with and that's what you think will get you your 15-20% increase, 5-10% the market will give you, so you take with the tide, and 5-10% you say, I'll work hard and get. But if you really want growth, and when I talk about growth, I talk about a quantum jump. Not 10, 15, 20%, but 100%, 200% growth. If you want 100%, 200% growth, two things are required. One is enthusiasm. You need to encourage the team and make them feel that yes, I want to grow big, I want to grow large, I want to grow there. So it must come from inside, not something imposed. I used to shudder when targets were being fixed in one of the companies I used to work. And as the regional manager, I was pushed, jumped, cajoled, to take a figure which is higher. And ultimately, we would take it because it's easier than resisting, because knowing that doesn't really matter. We don't have to do it. If you do it, great. If not, it's fine. But if you really want a large target and you really want it to achieve, so it must come from inside. Two, once it comes inside and the team feels, yes, we want to do it, yes, we can get there, then the chances are you will. That's the first step. The second step is then the guys to break down what they are doing. What I keep calling constructive destruction of what you are doing. What I call constructive destruction of what you're doing. Totally new way of looking at things. Change the way you sell, change the persons you sell to, change what you sell. Then only you can go to a quantum jump. So don't do what you were doing and hope to do better, but now you do something totally out of the line. For example, when we was in DCM and we took this strategy of volume, we said, okay, we will go for volume. How do you go for volume? So to go for volume, we need to sell to government. We have to see where is the market, where can I sell volume. So if I sell to government, if I am selling to government and today, if we had no sale in the government, by and large, because government buys L1 and even our cost of purchase was more than the market price. So there was no way we could have been L1. And government doesn't really care whether your quality is superior or anything else. Right? They really want L1 as long as the technical specs meet the requirement. So you pass the technical specs, then you're L1, you get bought. And to get volumes, that's where you had to go. We're not there. Similarly, we had to go for large orders and large tenders, even in private sector. And we also had to have a much larger spread. We had depots or sales marketplaces in about 12 or 13 cities in India, and that was not enough to go for volume in such a large country like ours, where the purchasing is now all over. So we need to sit down and re-examine our market, our customer segment, our customer profile, and say, this is what our current customer segment, this is what our current profile is, this is what is going to be our new profile. Having got that, now you say, how do I reach them? A. B. Having reached them, how do I make them buy? So for reaching, government, tenders come out. So you got to look out for those tenders, make relationship with the government, right? Because half the time, the sale is made before the tender is made. Because if you can influence the tender, right, put it specs towards what you are offering better, then you start with a attach. It's like having a cricket pitch made to your liking. If you're in India, you want to make a spinner's wicket, or you're in England, you make a green pitch. So that's the first part, that before you start the game, you work and get the customer. So you create relationships, and you can do that through distributors or whatever. Secondly, you have to be L1. And I'll tell you, go back to how do you become L1, maybe in a separate session. This will take a long time, but how do you become L1? Next one was, if you want to go to have a larger reach, then you need to sell differently. If you employ so many more salespersons, then it's a very risky game, because if you don't reach the volume, the overheads will kill you. If you commit, yes sir, 50% is what I'm going to do next year, and I don't do 50%, and to do 50%, I build up an infrastructure, a sales team, a distribution team to do that, and I do only 5% more, then even at selling at list prices, we are going to lose money, because the cost of overheads will kill. Therefore, we need to have a less risky thing. So what do? Don't employ people, but find a sales team, distributors, right? Franchisees. So go out and set up distributors. Now that's a totally different thing from what we are doing today. Today, we've got salesmen, area manager, branch manager, sales manager who go around and meeting customers and making the sale. Now we're saying no. Find distributors, find dealers all over India, in small towns, in big towns, wherever. Find them and charge them to go and sell. Train them, strengthen them, and make them sell. So what happens? Two things you do now to reach a 50% margin. You have totally broken down what you're doing. Right? Set up a new distribution channel, new way of selling, a new way of meeting customers. Then the next step is, what about the product? We've decided the market, that this is who we're going to sell to. Now we've decided how we are going to sell to go those numbers. I say, okay, what is that we're going to sell to them? Can we sell what we are producing now? The answer was a big no, because the cost of what we were producing then was far too high. So what do we need to do? We need to find something that we can sell, but in the same line. Not outside computers, not outside PCs, the same line. So we then look back and say, okay, if I want to get volumes, if I want to be L1, what do I do to my entire ecosystem? My manufacturing, my purchasing, my technology system, so that I become L1. So to get quantum jump and increase, as I said, we have to do a constructive destruction. Break what we are doing, rebuild totally from scratch. Not step-by-step rebuilding. Right? Not build on what you've already got, but totally break down what you have, rebuild it. And once you do that, right, you rebuild it, you say, okay, then I will not design my own product. I will buy from the market. I will go to Taiwan, right, and I'll buy from the market. And I'll buy the cheapest in the market. Then I will have all this infrastructure which is for supporting, for manufacturing. I will dismantle, bring down the cost, right? And I will cut down my inventory, because I'm buying from the market, made products, so I will cut down my inventory. So I will go into just in time, cut down the cost of money, cost of holding, cost of selling, and I'll push for collectibles. I will then change my way of selling and say, okay, 90% advance, right? Or at the time of delivery, and then 10% maybe on acceptance. That's how government normally does. So we change, analyze, okay, what do we break down and say, okay, we're now going to change the people to whom we are going to sell. We're going to change the way we are going to sell to them, and we are going to change what we are going to sell to them. And for that, we will change the entire way the company works. It's possible. We have done it and it can be done. But it cannot happen if you go for incremental growth, for taking incremental steps. Be brave, be bold, and be fearless. With that, it's Veer Sagar saying thank you very much till we meet again in another session of Learn with Veer Sagar. Thank you.